Hey, I've organized all my playlists on this channel so that you're able to easily find different types of shoes, different brands of shoes, as well as finding all my shoe battles, worth the price shoe reviews, etc., all in one place. Enjoy. Welcome back. This is Wisconsin Shoe Guy, and we're here for another shoe battle. Today we're going to be talking about the George Cleverly Atom versus a hand-welted October 10th OT15. Now the October 10th is a wingtip Adelaide compared to a straight tip Adelaide in the George Cleverly, and is also hand welted compared to Goodyear welted. So let's get started. So the Cleverly, by the way, in Adelaide is just this U throat here. Adelaide has peaked heel caps, has a seam in the back, and has a medallion at the front here, okay? Where the, as I said before, this is a wingtip. It has no medallion. It has very high heel caps and just a small seam in the back here, so it's not completely split. Now, the big difference here is this has this tapered heel, as I just pointed out, and that looks a little different. I have to admit that this looked a little odd when I first got them. Now, it's not really a higher heel, not very much anyway. It may be maybe a couple pads higher, but it's mostly just the angle in which that it's done, and it's very reminiscent in my mind of a cowboy boot and the way that those heels are shaped. So now I ordered another pair of October 10th after I got these and wore them for a little bit. And I mean, I like them. They're very, very well made. The quality is just absolutely fantastic. October 10th is out of Shanghai, and this is part of a collaboration with Sons of Henry. And this is an exclusive design to that collaboration. But the next time I ordered them, I got them with the straight heel, not with the tapered heel. Just something I want to do a little different in the future. They're split toes also. Now I had toe taps, or these are Triumph tips put on these, and this was done by the factory. You can see the sole wear. I wore these for about a day, and their sole wear is very, very minimal. Likewise, the sole wear on these, I've also worn them a couple days. Very, very minimal. And you can see the heels also very similar. Now the heel on the Cleverly is obviously larger. That's because it's not tapered. Not a huge difference there. If you look at the waists, the waist on the Cleverly is a little bit narrower, but not much. And overall, the shape of them is very similar. You can see there's a little bit more of a cut this way on the October 10th. And that's the Huang last. I'm not sure what last this is. It looks very, very similar to the Crockett and Jones 348, but I'm not sure. So I'm continuing to look at that. It's not on the box. So very happy with these. They are hand welted. Now, the difference between hand welted and Goodyear welted is pretty simple. A Goodyear welted shoe, on the bottom of the insole, they glue a piece of canvas called gemming, and then they sew the welt, which is a little piece of leather that goes along the top here, to that, and that's how they construct the shoe. The welt and the insole and the shoe all stay as one piece, and then so the soles can just be removed over and over again, and that's how they do it. Now, traditionally, when you have a Goodyear welted shoe, the insole itself is thinner, and there's a gap between the outsole and the insole that is filled with cork. Okay, sometimes it's made with synthetic materials, but most of the time with high quality shoes, it's cork, and the cork then embeds and takes the form of your foot as you wear the shoes for a while, and they get that custom feel like they were made for you. Now, a hand welted shoe is going to have a thicker piece of leather as the insole, and we'll have less space on the bottom for cork. So the leather itself takes more of the shape of your foot in the thickness of that insole and of course, there's a little layer of cork underneath it that that does as well, but that is going to, change it a little bit. Now, in terms of resoling these shoes, and this is going to be an issue for both of these shoes. They are blind stitched, so that's going to cost a bit more. They also have the fiddleback waist, which is going to also cost a bit more. So now I can probably send them back to Cleverly on October 10th and have them do it, or I can take them to, one of the, cobblers that I know, which I'll probably do. So, very, very solid construction on the October 10th. Because it's hand welted, it has a little bit of a different feel to it. It was a little bit large from a fit perspective inside the shoe. I had a little bit too much room here, so I used a Picasso insole. And on my next pair that I got, I actually asked them to make the insole a little bit thicker still. And that way it doesn't take up that much room. Now, from a length perspective, like my pinky is right at the edge, so I didn't want to, make it shorter because that would just cramp my foot. It also makes it narrower, which is a problem for me. So this winds up being the most elegant solution. Now, an interesting fact is the shoe trees that come with this are so tight that they didn't think that they could work with the thicker insole. So I'm going to have to, use an aftermarket shoe tree for the new pair that comes. So just something to think about. Now, this is on the Huang last, and the Huang last, as I said, has a little bit more of a cut this way. It is a slight chisel, and so from a overall last shape, it looks very similar to the Cleverly. Now, like the Spirelli from Barbonero, which I did a shoe review on earlier, that is a round last. So the shape of the shoe can be a much bigger differentiation than brand to brand when you're looking at chisel to chisel. So just something to think about. Now, they have done, as you can tell, a very, very significant burnishing on the shoe. This is the first pair that I got in this cognac color. And while I love the cognac color, it is very orange. So I picked up some cognac shoe cream and some polish. I bought it from Saphir. And so I will be doing a treatment on this with those. You can see that there's a little bit of contrast stitching that I'm going to need to look out for, and also the inside of the brogue holes. I've got to figure out whether or not I want those to be clean or whether I want them to be dirty. When I say dirty, what I mean is that whether I want them to be the same color or whether I want to do a contrast color on the inside. Generally speaking, if you're going to do something that severe, you've got to use dye. And I'm not going to take the time to do that. I also need to figure out whether or not this burnishing is done with polish or is done with dye, and I will find out when I really strip them down. But for my first few wears, I just did some neutral shoe cream and polish just to kind of get them into shape, and then I will do. But they came, with this, what looks like extreme burnish on them before. So, and candidly, based on feedback that I've gotten on my Instagram channel, people either love it or hate it. So I happen to like it, but I'm probably going to go about 3 shades lighter on the burnish if this is not dyed. So that's just the way I tend to do it. Is I like more subtle differences rather than these stark contrasts. So almost looks black, even though I know that that's got to be a dark brown. So. So from a quality standpoint, the lining on this is also veg tan leather. It is on this as well, although I would say that it's a little bit softer on the inside of the October 10th, which isn't surprising because it's hand welted. Having a Triumph toe tap versus the rows of nails, this is really 6 of one, half a dozen of another. I've been with plenty of shoemakers who tell me that nails are way, way, way better, and plenty that have told me that toe taps are way, way, way better. So, and no, they don't make any noise when you walk unless you tap your toe. Then they will. But I'm not tap dancing anyway, so it doesn't really matter to me. From an overall perspective, I already said I'm probably not going to ever get a tapered heel again, but it is a fine shoe for the price, which is remarkably similar. I mean, they're definitely in the same ballpark. I prefer to get hand welted. Am I going to spend 3 times, 4 times as much for hand welted? No. Do I feel like Gaziano and Girling or Edward Green aren't good enough because they're Goodyear welted? No, I don't feel that way at all. I feel like the finishing of the shoe is the finishing of the shoe and the welting is the welting. But I do like hand welted shoes, and I am going to continue, keeping them in my collection and expanding that part of my collection because I do think that it's really quality craftsmanship, and it's very interesting to me to see how they wear differently over time. So I do like this better for the very, very similar price. And that is my shoe battle. Let me know what you think. Did I go wrong? Should I have gotten a grain? Because I've been getting a lot of grains. Would this look better in a grain pattern than it does in the standard? They originally had multiple colors, gray. Would that have looked better? What do you think? Anxious to hear your thoughts and what you think we could do differently as we continue to expand the collection. So that's it. Thanks much. Bye. So I wanted to provide some measurements here so you're able to see with more of a quantitative feel as to which one is better.